The twin suns bathed the colony in a golden haze as life unfolded in its usual rhythm. The settlement, nestled in a valley of jagged cliffs and alien flora, thrived against the odds. Commander Ethan Vale walked the perimeter, his boots crunching against the reddish soil. His eyes scanned the horizon, a habitual check that spoke of both duty and pride. This planet wasn't Earth, but it was home, a hard-earned sanctuary carved from the unforgiving wilderness. Dr. Mira Lane was nearby, tinkering with a filtration unit by the water station. Her blonde hair was tied back in a functional knot, her fingers deftly adjusting the device. "This should increase efficiency by another 3%, she announced, not looking up. "Enough to buy us breathing room during the next drought." Ethan nodded. "You've kept this colony alive more times than I can count, Mira." His voice carried the calm authority of a man used to bearing responsibility. "Team effort," she replied with a faint smile. Lieutenant Aaron approached briskly, his posture stiff and his face grim. "Commander, long-range sensors just flagged something. Unidentified activity. Could be wildlife, but..." Ethan frowned. "Or something worse. Let's be ready." The warning proved prophetic. Without any prelude, the sky erupted in chaos. From beyond the cliffs, sleek, angular ships emerged, their surfaces gleaming with an unearthly metallic sheen. They opened fire with no warning, streaks of searing energy raining down on the colony. Explosions tore through vital infrastructure. The water station, food silos, and communication array were obliterated in a single, coordinated strike. People screamed as buildings crumbled and fire engulfed the once thriving settlement. "Get to the bunkers!" Ethan roared, his voice cutting through the panic. He sprinted toward the central hub, helping an elderly man to his feet and guiding him toward safety. All around him, chaos reigned. In the underground command center, the survivors gathered, their faces pale and drawn. Ethan slammed his fist onto the console, his jaw tight. "What the hell was that?" Myra's voice was steady despite the tremor in her hands. "They didn't target us randomly. They knew exactly where to hit. They crippled our food and water supplies in one strike." Lieutenant Aaron stood at attention, his expression grim. "We've got limited power reserves, no outside comms, and no way to get reinforcements. If they come back..." "They will," Ethan interrupted, his voice hard. His gaze swept the room, taking in the frightened faces of his people. "They attacked our home. They'll be back to finish what they started." "Who are they?" Mira asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. "And why us?" Ethan didn't have an answer, and that burned more than anything. The colony lay in ruins, its once bustling streets now silent under the weight of ash and rubble. Families huddled together in the dimly lit underground bunkers, their faces etched with fear and exhaustion. Children clung to parents, whispering questions that no one could answer. Supplies were sparse, and hope seemed as fragile as the structures above ground. Ethan stood at the center of the command room, his voice a beacon amidst the despair. "Listen to me," he began, his tone firm but empathetic. "This is our home. We've fought too hard to build it to let anyone take it away. I know it feels like everything's lost, but as long as we're still breathing, we have a chance." His words struck a chord. People straightened their backs, eyes sharpening with resolve. He looked at Mira and Aaron. "We're not waiting for another attack. We'll take the fight to them. First, we need to know what we're up against." Teams were assembled with precision. Mira coordinated efforts to repair what little equipment remained functional. Aaron handpicked a small squad to scout the surface, their task clear: locate the enemy, observe, and report back without engaging. The stealth team moved through the shattered landscape under cover of darkness. The air was thick with the acrid smell of smoke, but the group pressed on, their steps silent and their weapons ready. They crested a ridge and spotted the enemy's camp, a temporary outpost brimming with activity. The aliens were unlike anything Aaron had seen. Their forms were sleek and metallic, almost insected in movement. Their technology was advanced, with drones hovering over the camp, scanning the area with an eerie precision. But what stood out was their behavior. They weren't deploying overwhelming force. Instead, they seemed to be cataloging and analyzing, as if searching for something. Aaron signaled for his team to fall back. The mission was a success, but the implications of what they'd seen weighed heavily on him. Back in the bunker, he reported to Ethan and Mira. "They're probing, not destroying," Aaron said, his voice measured but uneasy. "They're methodical. It's like they're trying to figure us out or locate something specific." Mira leaned over a table strewn with salvaged data tablets, her brow furrowed. "If they're searching for something, it might be connected to the planet itself. The soil here is rich in iridium hexite, a compound rare in the galaxy. It's what made this place viable for colonization in the first place." Ethan nodded, the pieces beginning to form a grim picture. "If that's their goal, they won't stop until they have it. And if we're in the way, they'll finish what they started." Mira finished, her voice low. Ethan's eyes swept the room, meeting the gazes of the people around him. "Then we don't give them the chance. We adapt. We fight. And we remind them exactly what humanity is capable of." The words hung in the air, sparking a renewed determination. It wasn't just survival at stake, it was the assertion of humanity's right to exist, to endure. The colony began to stir with purpose, battered but unbroken. The underground bunker buzzed with activity. Makeshift workshops sprang up in every available corner, tools clanging as the survivors turned salvaged parts into weapons. Ethan stood at the center, overseeing the chaotic but determined efforts. "We've been miners and builders our whole lives," he said. "Now, we use that same ingenuity to defend what's ours." Dr. Mira Lane was hunched over a cracked alien drone, her hands deftly prying apart its delicate components. "Their tech runs on a network system, tightly encrypted," she muttered, more to herself than anyone else. "But the interfaces are surprisingly modular. If I can crack this, you can turn it against them," Ethan finished, leaning over her shoulder. She nodded, determination hardening her features. "With their tech and our tools, we can create something that levels the playing field. It won't be elegant, but it'll work." Ethan stepped away, nodding to Aaron, who had been coordinating the volunteers. They had repurposed mining lasers into makeshift energy weapons and reinforced their vehicles with scrap metal for makeshift armor. Crude, perhaps, but effective. The first test of their ingenuity came when Aaron's team intercepted a small alien patrol near the colony's perimeter. The ambush was swift and calculated. Hidden trenches and camouflage traps funneled the aliens into a kill zone where the repurposed mining lasers cut through their ranks. The aliens, though technologically advanced, had not anticipated the sheer unpredictability of human tactics. Amid the chaos, one alien was captured alive, a towering figure with segmented armor that gleamed under the makeshift floodlights back at the bunker. Ethan approached it, his face a mask of controlled fury. "Why did you attack us?" he demanded, his voice sharp enough to cut through the tension in the room. The alien's response was a series of clicks and guttural sounds, but Myra's rudimentary translator device managed to parse fragments. "Survival, conflict inevitable, your kind, resource." Ethan's jaw tightened, but he pressed further. "What resource? What do you want from us?" The alien's luminous eyes flickered, its voice quieter now. "Your presence disrupts balance, must eliminate threat." Though cryptic, the words hinted at a deeper motive, one rooted in fear rather than pure malice. Ethan stepped back, his mind racing. With the captured alien tech and data, Mira worked tirelessly to uncover its secrets. After hours of painstaking effort, she burst into the command center, her face alight with a mix of triumph and exhaustion. "I've done it," she announced, holding up a jury-rigged device. "We can jam their communications. It won't last long, but it'll give us a window to strike without them coordinating reinforcements." Ethan's eyes lit up. "Good. Now we make our move." The breakthrough shifted the balance. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about showing their attackers that humanity wasn't prey. They were a force to be reckoned with. The colony struck just before dawn, the first tendrils of light barely cresting the horizon. Armed with makeshift jamming devices and salvaged alien tech, Ethan's team moved with precision. Myra's hacked communication disruptor hummed faintly in Aaron's hands as the group approached the alien base, a sprawling, metallic structure carved into the cliffs. Ethan gave the signal, and the device activated, sending ripples of interference across the alien network. Almost instantly, the lights at the base flickered, and drones patrolling its perimeter faltered, their movements jerky and erratic. "They're blind," Aaron whispered, gripping his rifle. Explosions erupted as humans targeted key power nodes with their modified mining lasers. Sparks flew, and the once formidable base was thrown into disarray. Without communication to coordinate their response, the aliens scrambled, their movements chaotic. Ethan watched as their forces retreated deeper into the base, leaving their outer defenses exposed. "Pull back!" Ethan ordered. "We've done enough damage for now." The team fell back into the cover of the rocky terrain, exhilaration tempered by exhaustion. The raid was a success, but Ethan's mind churned with unease. Back at the bunker, Mira pored over the data retrieved during the assault. The alien systems were a labyrinth of information, but she navigated them with relentless focus. Hours later, she looked up, her face pale and her hands trembling. "I know why they're here," she said, drawing the attention of the entire room. Ethan leaned in, his expression grim. "Tell me." Mira pointed to a holographic display, where charts of mineral densities and environmental metrics flashed. "Their planet is dying. Whatever system they relied on to sustain themselves is collapsing. They came here because they're running out of options. And our colony, our use of the planet's resources, it's threatening their survival. In their eyes, we're the invaders." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Aaron was the first to speak, his voice hard. "So what? That excuses them slaughtering us?" "No," Mira replied firmly, her gaze unwavering. "But it explains them." Ethan paced, his thoughts racing. The anger that had driven him through every battle now warred with something more complicated. "They attacked us without warning. They killed our people. But if we escalate, we're no better than them." "They won't stop," Aaron argued. "We can't afford to hesitate. It's us or them." The room broke into heated debate, voices rising as the survivors weighed their options. Some demanded retaliation, while others urged caution, reluctant to embrace the same desperation that had driven the aliens to violence. Ethan raised his hand, silencing the room. "Enough." His voice was calm, but the weight of command was clear. "I understand both sides. But this isn't just about survival anymore. It's about what kind of people we want to be. They attacked our home. But if there's a chance, any chance, to resolve this without becoming what we hate, we owe it to ourselves to try." The tension lingered, but no one spoke against him. The decision was made, though its consequences were still unknown. The ground trembled as the alien forces emerged in full strength, their sleek ships hovering ominously above the battered colony. This was their final gambit, a last-ditch attempt to crush the humans who had dared to resist. But this time, the colony was ready. Ethan stood at the forefront, his patched armor glinting in the harsh light. Behind him, the survivors, miners, engineers, and scientists turned warriors, held their makeshift weapons with steady hands. The jamming devices and repurposed alien tech hummed with energy, each piece a testament to their determination and ingenuity. "They're coming," Aaron announced, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. Ethan nodded. "Hold your positions. Stick to the plan. They're not unbeatable, we've proven that." The aliens struck first, their ground troops advancing in coordinated waves, supported by drones firing precision lasers. But humanity had adapted. Myra's jamming signals disrupted the drones, sending them spiraling into the ground. Hidden traps, crafted from mining explosives, erupted under the alien forces, throwing their ranks into chaos. The battle was fierce. Humans fought with grit and ingenuity, outmaneuvering the aliens at every turn. Groups of survivors flanked the enemy, using the terrain to their advantage, while others deployed hacked alien weaponry to devastating effect. For every step the aliens took, the humans pushed them back too. In the heart of the chaos, Ethan found himself face to face with the alien commander. Taller and more imposing than the others, it radiated an aura of authority and menace. Its glowing eyes locked onto Ethan, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. "You attacked our home!" Ethan roared, his voice carrying the weight of every loss, every sacrifice. He charged forward, dodging the alien's initial strike and countering with a brutal blow from his makeshift weapon. The fight was intense, each clash of blows echoing the larger battle raging around them. The alien commander faltered, its strength no match for Ethan's relentless determination. With a final, decisive strike, Ethan brought it down, the victory symbolizing humanity's refusal to be conquered. As the alien forces witnessed their leader's defeat, their resolve crumbled. Ships retreated into the sky, and ground forces scattered, their once unified assault devolving into a desperate retreat. Humanity had won. In the aftermath, the survivors emerged from their defenses, weary but triumphant. The colony, though scarred, still stood. The people began to rebuild, their unity stronger than ever. Ethan stood with Mira and Aaron, overlooking the battered settlement. "They underestimated us," Aaron said, a rare smile breaking through his usual stoicism. "They didn't understand us," Mira added, her voice soft but resolute. Ethan gazed at the horizon, his expression thoughtful. "We fought because we had no choice," he said. "But we survived because that's what humanity does best. We endure. We rebuild. And we rise stronger every time." The colony hummed with renewed life as people worked side by side, driven not by fear, but by hope. The battle had proven not just their strength, but the unyielding spirit that defined them. Humanity had prevailed.